Okay, so let's talk about this because we went through a lot of things today. We got really excited. We also talked about the fact that we need to stay calm more than anything. And part of that, even though things seem like they're moving perfectly as planned in our direction, things could change at any moment. Any moment. You could wake up one day, you look at your phone, and something catastrophic has happened. Could happen any day, especially in an election year. The odds of that happening are much higher. So I got a couple things here that I want to talk about, and I had one at the end, but I forget what it is now. Anyways, let's start with this. So the first one I would say here, after taking in all this information, the best thing you can do today is just be ready for anything. What I mean by that is that you should be expecting the worst here in 2024. As much as we want to be hopeful and optimistic about things, you also have to be realistic here because we're moving in this direction. There's a very evil force that does not want us to move in this direction. And they're going to do everything that they possibly can to stop it from happening. And they will stop at nothing to do that. So keep that in mind. Just prepare yourself. Prepare yourself mentally for it. Just expect it to happen. Regardless of what it is, regardless of how bad it is, just expect it to happen. And with that, you also have to be preparing for the Bitcoin side of things, but also just like start with the easy things, like fill up a couple tanks of propane, get some water, go to your local meat guy, buy some meats, fill your freezer here, even if you have to spend some Bitcoin to do it. And text your family and say, it's an election year. I just feel like there's something that could go wrong. I hope it doesn't, but if it does, if the communications go down, if the power goes out, this is where we're going to meet. This is our muster point. Very simple to do, and it could make a world of difference for you, depending on how things go here. So that's the first one, is prepare. The second one is start trading all of your other assets for Bitcoin. All of them. Your old t-shirts, your old putters, your old hockey cards, some silver, whatever that is. And I saw a clip of Michael Saylor saying that the 90% of the increases in any asset, in Bitcoin too, but they happen in like a day or two. So I know people, like, over time, you think back and you see the charts, but a lot of the gains happen in a day, not over time. It's not like we go up 1% a day till we get to 200%. It goes up like very quickly. So with that, I want you to keep that in mind, because even if you have like 2,000 cash or whatever that may be, you just hold it in Bitcoin, because you don't want to miss that day where that happens. That's pretty much the worst case scenario, is if you got some money on the sidelines, you're waiting for the Bitcoin price to go down. And then all of a sudden it shoots up one day and you're scrambling to try to buy some Bitcoin. Just keep it in Bitcoin, because you don't want to miss that day where that happens. So trade all of your other assets for Bitcoin, including your altcoins. And it looks like we saw a couple comments in the chat today for people who did that. So big shout out to them for doing that. The next one here is join a community. Join some sort of Bitcoin community, whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you. I would avoid Telegram at all costs, but find a community, whether that's through Nostr, whether that's through Bitcoin Twitter, the Living in the Future tier that we have. You want to have people, when you're going through something like this type of transition. This is a very big deal, and it's very easy to feel lonely, I think, in Bitcoin. I've experienced that for a lot of years myself, where you really have nobody to talk to, nobody to ask questions to, nobody to bounce ideas off of. So make sure that you're part of a community, and then you can kind of navigate this thing with other people. That's important, because I think there are a lot of Bitcoiners out there, they don't even have like their spouse that they can talk about Bitcoin to. So consider joining a community, whether that's through Nostr or through any other way. But we have a very good one called Living in the Future. You can access it through the show notes here. You just click the link right beside Living in the Future, and it'll take you right there. You can try it out for 7 days, check out the videos, join the chat. We have a couple different chats going on and a couple different initiatives and ventures through that. The next one here is consider your inheritance stuff. That's a big one. And I think that the majority of people are sleeping on this stuff right now. Bitcoiners, they buy Bitcoin, they figure out how to hold it, and they think that they're good to go. But in reality, if you got hit by a bus tomorrow on your way to work or wherever you're traveling to, what would happen to that? Would your family be able to access it? Would you have your passphrase written down somewhere that they could find? Do they even know how to open a Bitcoin wallet? Would they know who to talk to about that? So the Bitcoin journey, with the help of a few members from Living in the Future, we're actually starting some sort of inheritance thing right now. And the guy's been doing pretty good work in it, I must say. And so big shout out. You know who you are over there. I don't know if you're in the chat or not today, but I'm pretty excited about it. That's kind of that was the end goal for this whole channel, for this whole thing we're working on here, is to be able to help people protect their Bitcoin and pass it on to their family members. Because not only are you taking your life's energy, everything that you've worked for in your life, that's what money is essentially. You're taking your life energy, you're putting it into Bitcoin, but you also have to factor in all these hours and all this time you spent learning about Bitcoin, learning how to buy it, learning how to store it, learning how to move it back and forth. And you're going to see that all wash away if you don't do something about it. So unfortunately, I don't have anything to offer you at this moment. But if you're somebody who wants, we're doing like a little pilot run here in the inheritance stuff. It's going to be pretty cool. We're going to have different keys in different countries. It's going to be pretty awesome. So if that sounds like something that you've maybe been sleeping on, just shoot me an email and say, I'm a little bit worried about my inheritance stuff. I'd like to hear a little bit more about it. What kind of services do you guys have? And then once we're ready, we'll either put you in the test run or the pilot program, just to make sure that we have everything in place before we actually make it available to the public. Or you can just be ready for it and we can send you information when it's go time. And the other one here is just sit back and enjoy things. Like you're here, you've done the work. Hopefully you've got through the preparation, you have some inheritance stuff in place. But once you get to that point, the best thing that you can do is just sit back and enjoy things. Because the world's on fire right now, and there's going to be a lot of pain for a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of pain in our lives as well. But the best thing you can have right now is Bitcoin. And if you think about how far ahead you are from everybody else right now, like 4 years ago, you could have taken a very small amount of your savings for the majority of people, especially who've been working for a while. And you could have bought one Bitcoin for $5,000 or $6,000, one Bitcoin. 4 years later, it now takes $100,000 to do that here in Canada. $100,000 after tax. That's how much it takes to get to one Bitcoin now. So if you think in 4 years from now, and you're sitting on a couple million sats, people who aren't here in Bitcoin yet are going to go through the exact same struggle and thinking, wow, that person has 2 million sats or 3 million sats. How did they ever get that? But you're already here. So now you just kind of get to sit back. You get to relax a little bit. You're good.